And a good afternoon to everyone from Blaine High School, North Metro TV, covering girls high school tennis, featuring the Blaine Bengals, 2-2 on the season, and the Spring Lake Park Panthers coming in with a record of 1-2. I'm Nick Walsh, and once again, we're pleased to have you here this afternoon for a doubleheader here on North Metro TV. We'll be followed by soccer here on the network as we are in progress here as the first 2 points of this first set have been awarded. Blaine and Spring Lake Park 15 all, as we will pick up Blaine with the serve here as Olivia Busack and Alexa Nielson of Spring Lake Park taking on Grace Halseth and Allison Terry of Blaine. We'll talk about more specifically later, but Blaine serving 15 all. This is Grace Halseth, 3-1 on the season individually. That one's out. Blaine will pick up the points there, 30-15 in favor of Halseth and Terry. Be out of bounds, and so 40-15 in favor of the Blaine duo. Picked up down by Spring Lake Park, and now 40-30. Spring Lake Park again able to tie things up, and so we will have a deuce situation here in game number 1. Halseth serving as senior. Check that, a junior. That one's going to give the advantage to Spring Lake Park. So add in Spring Lake Park. Boy, Nielson and Halseth both willing to play the corners there and play over the top of their partners there through the entire rally. As add in now for Spring Lake Park here in game number 1. First one was long. And that one will go over the head of both the Spring Lake Park players as the first game picked up by Spring Lake Park. That was a nice rally by Spring Lake Park as Blaine picked up the first couple of points there, but Spring Lake Park was able to neutralize that and come back to win for a 1-0 game number 1 win. As we watch here, the strong return there by Olivia Busack, and Terry unable to respond from the front of the net, and so the first point goes to Spring Lake Park. Spring Lake Park coming in a record of 1-2 and picking up their first win of the season as a team, 4-3, a win over Armstrong. Meanwhile, Blaine hasn't played in a week. Neither of these teams have played in a week, as Spring Lake Park playing Robbinsdale Armstrong back on the 3rd, defeating them 4-3. Blaine, meanwhile, coming in a record of 2-2 overall, lost to Centennial back on September 3rd. First opportunity with the serve today for Spring Lake Park. This is Alexa Nielson. And that was called out as the first point of game number 2. Goes the way of Blaine, 15 love in favor of Halseth and Terry. Again called out here, so second serve coming up. And the double fault will make it 30 love. Nice aggressive net play up front there by Grace Halseth. A couple of shots in a row there right up front. And Blaine now leading 40 love. As Nielson the serve. That was called out as well, and so the point going to Blaine. And so 1-1 our score. Yeah, there was some back and forth there, but Blaine did pick up the point there. So 1-1 our score, and now Blaine's Allison Terry coming in with a record of 3-0 individually this season with the serve. And that's going to be a double fault, and that will give Spring Lake Park the 15-love lead here with a 1-1 game. Halseth and Terry have played 3 out of 4 matches together this season. Terry 3-0. Halseth is 3-1 this season. that one called out as well. And so Blaine tying the game 15-all. This one's going to be too strong. First one out as well. Second serve, 15-30. And the point there for Spring Lake Park, so now 40-15. Good net play there out front once again by Olivia Busack, and the point going to Spring Lake Park, and they pick up break point now, 2-1 now, as we will take a quick break. And we'll be back with more here from North Metro TV. 2-1 right now in set number 1, favoring Spring Lake Park. Back here once again in Blaine is the team of Busack and Nielson of Spring Lake Park, leading Halseth and Terry of Blaine 2-1 here in this first set. Nick Walsh here with you. Really pleasant day here in Blaine. We have had some kind of crummy weather the last couple of days, but cleared up in time for today's match. Again, nice play there by Olivia Busack, this time from the back, kind of coming up and able to send it across in an angle that was awkward enough not to be able to receive by Halseth, and so Spring Lake Park with the 15-love lead. And that's going to be too strong, and so Halseth that time airmails it, and so 15-love. Busack, as we mentioned, 1 and 2 on the season. Busack and Nielson have played every match together, so they have the same record against the same opponents. Second serve coming up. Good net play up front, this time by Halseth, to send it across as Blaine takes the 30-15 lead. Mentioned Busack and Nielson, they're both 1 and 2, but they've had some very close matches. They defeated Isabel Olson and Anna Rausch from Robbinsdale Armstrong 6-4, 7-5 for their only win. They lost the next 2, but both of those have been close matches as well. Some miscommunication there on the part of Spring Lake Park allows Blaine to take a 40-15 lead. Mentioned those 2 close losses. They lost to Anoka's Lila Fedor and Ella Larson 2-6, 6-4, 4-6, so they needed a third set. And then lost to Totino Grace's Olivia Baldwin and Hannah Gray 6-7 in a tiebreaker and 6-1, but the tiebreaker was a 7-5 match. It's a nice shot there by Halseth and Terry, and they pick up the win to tie things up here at 2 games apiece now. So we are looking at potentially another close matchup here so far early between these 2 doubles teams. Spring Lake Park has had 2 leads. Blaine has been able to tie it up both times. This is Halseth. Oh, nice shot there in front by Olivia Busack to get Spring Lake Park the 15-love lead. Really nice net play cutting across there and a good angle. No chance for Blaine to return. See here, she's able to cut across in that angle. There's no way that Halseth can get to that. 15-love. Oh, and on the other side, a really nice cut pass by Allison Terry to tie things up at 15 all. When you're up at the net, you have to be very aware, very quick, and that's what Terry was there. 15 all. Terry being very aggressive up front, and she puts Blaine up 30-15 here in this game. I mentioned Terry 3-0 on the season. Talk about Terry and Halseth's record here shortly. Just out, so that'll tie things up at 30 all. Good aggressive shot there by Busack, taking advantage of Terry's closeness to the net there. Not much option for timing there from Terry. 30 all. Hit there is going to allow Spring Lake Park to take a 40-30 lead. Pretty good communication there on the switch there from Blaine, but Halseth just hitting it off an awkward part of the racket. So trailing now 30-40 here, and with a break point coming up potentially. Oh, great shot there once again by Busack, sending it across, and Spring Lake Park takes a 3-2 lead. That was a really well-placed shot there by Busack, again looking and kind of ranging where people are on the court, seeing that there's no chance that Halseth can get across, and Spring Lake Park taking a 3-2 lead here in set number 1. And so we've got a good one here. Spring Lake Park, on all 3 occasions, they've taken leads when they can. A 1-0 lead, 2-1, and now a 3-2. And now we'll see if Blaine can answer. One thing that's interesting here is each team so far has been able to win the other team's serve. So Blaine has served the first, third, and the fifth games here of set number 1, and Spring Lake Park has won all 3 of those. Blaine has served the second and the fourth games or Spring Lake Park, I should say, has served the second and the fourth games, and Blaine has won those. And so the serve is supposed to be to your advantage, but it has not been so far here in set number one, as the serving team is 0-5 so far in set number one. See if Spring Lake Park can take advantage here with the serve now, leading 3-2. As Alexa Nielson will serve for the second time. Second serve here. As that one's fired back by Grace Halseth, and Spring Lake Park, or Blaine rather, taking a 15-love lead. What happened there was that there was a ball that came across, and so it got very distracting, and so they decided to replay that second shot. You're wondering why there was a third serve there. And a good shot there by Allison Terry, sending it back, and so Blaine now up 30-love. A couple of really athletic plays by Allison Terry up front. She plays the net very well for the Blaine Bengals. Getting some hops there for the point. First serve was in the net, so this is the second serve here. Love 30. The net, and so Spring Lake Park gets the point, and so trailing now 15-30. That time Terry had to shift across the back and just couldn't quite get it over the net. 15-30. They called a let there, so that hit the top of the net, so no serve. Will give Blaine the point there, so 40-15. So for the third time, Blaine closing in potentially on a point on the service of Spring Lake Park. Shot by Terry from the back will give the point to Blaine, and Blaine has tied things up 3-3 here in set number one. So the same MO here. On the Blaine serve, Spring Lake Park wins. On the Spring Lake Park serve, Blaine wins. And I don't know if I've ever seen a streak, or that I can remember, I guess, where there's been as many in a row like this. Obviously, will win each other's serves, but 6 in a row is pretty impressive. We'll see if Terry can break the streak for Blaine. 3-3 serving. Point here going to Blaine as Terry and Nielson volleying back and forth, and Terry will win that one from the back. 15-love here, Blaine. just a bit long. We'll tie things up. Terry with a nice shot there, and that'll pick up the point for Blaine as she was able to get it by Busack, and then Nielson way over on the right side of the court. Really didn't have any opportunity. Made a good effort at it, but just not enough time to get across as the junior now serving 30-15 here in a 3-3 first set. Good serve there. We'll make it 40-15. So we could have our streak of losing serve teams here if Blaine can pick up the point. Nice play out the front. Blaine will pick up the point, and they take the lead now, 4-3, their first lead of the day. And we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more from Blaine High School tennis on North Metro TV. 4-3 as Spring Lake Park with the serve. As Olivia Busack will serve here, trailing for the first time, Spring Lake Park, 4-3. Nice return there by Terry down the line to get the first point here. As Blaine with a chance to open up a lead here. Neither team has led by more than one at any point here in this first set. 15-love favoring Blaine. Oh, really great play by Terry. Boy, Terry really plays the net well. Of the four on the court currently, Terry is clearly the most comfortable when it comes to playing at the net here as Blaine leads 30-love. Really nice return there by Busack to get Spring Lake Park back into it. She cuts across again, angles. All important when it comes to doubles. It's a different game from singles as the senior serving 15-30. Terry unable to get it, and another nice shot by Busack to tie things up 30-all. There's just, even with that extra room along the sides, there's not a lot of room with the two players out there as we get another shot here by Busack, and just too strong as Terry can't get over. You gotta pick and choose your angles. In tennis, you can float it across a lot easier with the extra player out there. It's much more difficult to find open room in doubles. 30-all. That one too strong, giving Blaine the advantage here, 40-30. Good shot, good idea by Busack, but just a bit too strong down the line, and so set point. Not set point, leading 40-30. They can take a 5-3 lead. not going to get back, and so we have a deuce situation here now. Wide. And a double fault will mean advantage Blaine here. Chance to take a 5-3 lead. It's going to be long, and so Blaine will pick up the point. And suddenly the Bengals duo of Halseth and Terry has won 3 games in a row. And so it'll be 5-3 with Blaine now with the serve with a chance to win the first set. Halseth with the serve. Good play up front by Busack. Spring Lake Park takes the early lead here. Now 30 love in favor of Spring Lake Park, so Blaine has a chance to potentially close this out, but they're going to have to come back as Spring Lake Park trying to stay in it here. Love 30. Bit of a reprieve here. Is that one too strong? And so Seth and Terry picking up the point there. Back to within 15-30. And a good serve there from Halseth to tie things up, 30 all. Right over the top of Terry. You see how Terry really, well, they call that, they called a let there, so it was not an ace. So it is now still 15-30 in favor of Spring Lake Park. And aggressive there by Terry, and now 30 all. Sometimes a little bit hard to hear the calls here from our vantage point. So 30 all. What we do here is the concrete truck behind us. We've got a great soundscape of that. They're doing some renovations here in Blaine. As you see the play by Terry. Man, that was an ace. As Halseth picked up the ace, so Blaine leading 40-30. This is set point. Chance here to close out set number 1 in favor of the Bengals. little too strong that time. A little too ambitious there from Terry as she hits it wide, and so deuce again. Wait, did they call that in? Oh, this. They did call that in, and so instead of a deuce situation, after some conversation, it appears that Blaine has won the first set. As we watch the replay here, let's see if this was... Why, the only thing I can think of there is that if it touched the racket of Alexa Nielson, that definitely was not in from our vantage point, but nonetheless, Blaine gets the victory here. 6-3 the final in set number 1. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with set number 2 after this here on North Metro TV. And we're back here once again at Blaine. 6-3 the victory for Blaine in set number 1 as Halseth and Terry, they trailed a couple of different times. In fact, 3 different times they trailed. They trailed 1-0, 2-1, and 3-2. But then were able to win the next 4 games in a row to take a 1-0 lead. Nick Walsh here as Alexa Nielson to serve to start set number 2. And the first point of set number 2 will go to Blaine's. Halseth and Terry on that ball into the net. 15. And the double fault will give the point there to Blaine as well. So 30 love in favor of Halseth and Terry here. This one goes out. Spring Lake Park picking up the first point of set number 2 here and trailing 15-30. And that one's out as well. So back-to-back points on out of bounds. Tie things up. Really good shot there, and that will not be returned by Grace Halseth from the front. And again, playing the angles away from Alexa Nielson in the back. 30-40. Out of bounds will give us our first deuce. Second set. Nielsen the serve. Good play there by Grace Halseth. Back-to-back plays from the front. And the advantage now in favor of Blaine. Halseth showing her abilities from the front. answered. And that one's out, so back to deuce here. And that one can't get over. And so advantage this time to Spring Lake Park. That one's out. A close play on both ends here, and so back to deuce. This is our third deuce situation here in game number 1 of set number 2. It's been very competitive between these two so far. Oh, Halseth had a chance there, and she had a good initial shot, but then put it into the net, and so Spring Lake Park back to the advantage here. Halseth unable to return that, and Spring Lake Park gets the victory here, 1-0. So just like the first set, they win set number 2, or game number 1 of set number 2, 1-0. And that is actually the first time today that Spring Lake Park has won a game in which they served it. They were 0-5 coming in to this game, but picking up a point on their own serve for the first time. Blaine won a couple right at the end of set number 1. They struggled on the serve to start 2, but Spring Lake Park had not won one that they served until now. So 1-0 here in set number 2 as Terry to serve. Good play there by Grace Halseth to take the early lead. Aggressive play out front, both teams. Saw Busack with a couple of good shots up front. Anytime you're up front, if you can get to it, you take it. We're seeing both teams be aggressive from the front. That one's going to be out, and an ace is going to give Blaine a 30-love lead here as Terry with the ace. And Halseth right down the middle makes it 40-love. Good aggressive play again up front by Grace Halseth. So Terry can serve for the point here. Try and tie things back up at 1. And into the net, and so Blaine easily ties things back up. And 1 game apiece here. And so where we didn't see much advantage with the serve in set number 1, both teams win their opening salvo of set number 2 with the serve. And so 1-1 now as Olivia Busack will serve for the first time here in set number 2. aggressive up front from Nielson, but too strong. And so Blaine, going back through the last game, they've won 5 straight points. Nice run for the Bengals. And that one should tie things up. I believe that one caught the corner. Nice play there by Halseth, shifting back through, and equally good Busack with a nice change on the shift back and forth, but too much as Blaine now leads at 30-15. As we watch it here again, you can see Halseth shifting Busack all the way across, and then Busack shifting back again to the near side, and the second time wasn't able to make the return. 30-15, second serve. That's into the net as Blaine picks up another point and making it 40-15 here in game number 3 of set number 2. Chance there for Nielson to get to it, and Blaine wins that game and makes it 2-1. So another good one. St. Louis, or Spring Lake Park rather, getting the first point, but Blaine the next 2. And we'll take a quick break. We'll be back here with more high school tennis here on North Metro TV. Set to get back going as Grace Halseth will serve for the first time here in set number 2. Blaine with the lead, 2-1. Blaine leading 1-0 here today. So that one's going to be out, and so Blaine will pick up the point. So 15 love in favor of Halseth and Terry. Don't forget, we've got a doubleheader here on North Metro TV. Coming up right after this, we will join high school boys soccer already in progress. Centennial taking on Spring Lake Park, as we'll get you to Blythe Whaley and John Haddon right after we're done here today. As an ace there, we'll make it 30 love. Good serve there from Grace Halseth right down into the far left corner. Able to return it is Nielson, as Terry being aggressive, and Blaine up 40 love. I should actually say it's a triple header today, as we've got tennis here, followed by boys soccer, followed by girls soccer. So it's a Spring Lake Park triple header for sure. 40 love Blaine. Good return there from Busack. Keeps things alive here, 40-15. Just one long. And not returned, as Blaine will pick up the lead, and so they have won 3 straight games in the set now and have a 3-1 lead. So Blaine has won their serve now 4 straight after losing the first 2. They've done well with the serve lately. Spring Lake Park has won just once with the serve today. As Nielson now with it, down 3-1. Yeah, that one out of bounds. So Blaine again taking the early advantage, 15-love. Too strong as Halseth could not return. A nice shot by Olivia Busack up front, and so 15 all here. And again, stellar net play by both of these teams today. Nice play again by Grace Halseth. Again, quick shot and a quick return there by Nielson, but Halseth was able to stay with the play and find a seam right between the two players. We see here Nielson with a quick return, but Halseth right down the middle to pick up the point. Quick point here by the Bengals. It is 40-15 in favor of Blaine. And a little too aggressive that time from Halseth. That'll give Spring Lake Park a chance here, pulling them back to within 30-40. Still a chance for Blaine to win here, however. And unable to return is Busack, and Blaine will pick up the point. And now leads 4-1. They have won 4 in a row now after Spring Lake Park won the first game. And here's second set, and so Blaine Bengals starting to close in. They have won 8 of the last 9 points going back to the first set as they trailed 3-2 in set number 1, but won 4 in a row to finish off set number 1 to win 6-3. And then in set number 2, Spring Lake Park got the first point to go up 1-0, but Blaine has won the next 4, and none of them actually have been particularly close. They won 4 straight in the second game. They won the point, only giving up 1 to Spring Lake Park, 1 to Spring Lake Park the next round, and then in the last game it was 40-30 before they won the points. So they have not had a deuce situation to win in the second set. They did lose in a deuce situation that first point, however. So the only truly close game of this second set was the one that Spring Lake Park was able to win. But since then, Blaine has really played some really strong tennis here as they have taken the 4-1 lead. As these two teams both looking to either get to 500 or above it, as Blaine 2-2 overall on the season as a team. They lost to Centennial in their last match, so they're looking to get back above 500. Spring Lake Park was 0-2 before defeating Robbinsdale Armstrong, so they're looking to try and, as a unit, get back to the 500 mark for the first time this season. And Allison Terry and Grace Halseth looking to pick up their 4th win of the season individually. Halseth is 3-1, Allison Terry 3-0. Olivia Busack and Alexa Nielson both looking to get back to 500 as well, as they are both 1-2 on the season. As the serve will be to the Blaine Bengals. And you can tell they're pretty loose out there right now, waving. Couldn't tell if they were waving to friends or waving to the camera, but they're waving to somebody behind us. As it'll be Allison Terry with the serve. Last time Terry served, Blaine scored 4 in a row to win the first game of the second set. That one a bit short, and so Spring Lake Park picks up the early advantage here, 15-love. Shot from the front there by Grace Halseth to tie things up at 15. All. That one a little too strong as Nielson and Terry lobbing back and forth, and then Halseth unable to return. And so Spring Lake Park now at the advantage 30-15. That was a really good play by Grace Halseth. She was cutting to the left and was able to throw on the brakes just enough to get the shot down and pick up the point to tie things up at 30-all. Yeah, nice play there by Halseth. She tried to misdirect the first time and didn't quite get the right angle, but the second time she was able to angle it off to the right of Nielson. And leading now 40-30. Terry closing in on another point here for the Bengals. And there it is Terry picks up the point, and now 5-1 in favor of the Blaine Bengals as they have won 9 straight from Spring Lake Park. I should say 9 of 10. Spring Lake Park did pick up the first game here in the second set. Halseth, check that Busack rather, to serve for Spring Lake Park. Busack will pick up the first point, and nice play there from the front by Nielson. Terry unable to respond. And aggressive out front again from Terry, as they'll get the point here to tie things up at 15 all. Both these Blaine Bengals really play the net well. Terry particularly comfortable up there, but Halseth also very good up front. That's probably where they've gained their advantage here today. They've tied things here 15 all. And a really nice shot by Terry to take the advantage here, now 30-15. Point for Blaine, and so we have reached match point here in this one, 40-15. Halseth and Terry with the lead, and they can close things out here. On the serve from Busack. It'll come down to the second serve. Too strong there by Terry, so Spring Lake Park will move on to the next. They'll have to pick up at least one more point here in a row. Busack trailing 30-40. Good shot there by Busack right down the line. And we have a deuce situation here. Spring Lake Park fighting to stay alive as we watch here. And a good drive by Busack using that extra court to keep things alive. That one goes out, so the advantage will be Spring Lake Park as they picked up 3 in a row here. And all of a sudden they can serve for the point to keep hopes alive for the Panthers. Well, is this going to go out? Back to deuce we go. Seen that as much here in the second set. In the first set, we saw a lot of the volleying back and forth from the back. We have not seen that as much. A little more aggressive on the net play here for both of these teams in the second set, but that time the lob advantage went to Blaine. Back to deuce. Called that one out, so there will be a second serve. Unable to return is Busack, and now Blaine has the advantage this time. The first advantage went to Spring Lake Park, but now Blaine has recovered a bit, and now once again match point number 2 coming up here for Blaine. And a double fault will give the match to Blaine as they pick up the point and they win the second set 6-1. And so the Blaine Bengals get the victory today, 6-3, 6-1. And a nice rally for Blaine after they struggled a bit early. They won 10 of the last 11 games between these two sets, and so the duo, Grace Halseth, goes to 4-1 on the regular season. Allison Terry now 4-0. Olivia Busack and Alexa Nielson both fall to 1 and 3. I think we're going to get a quick break, and when we come back, we will interview the winning matchup, Halseth and Terry, when we come back here on North Metro TV. All right, back here once again in Blaine. Final score here in this first doubles matchup. Blaine wins in straight sets by final scores of 6-3 and 6-1. We're joined now by Grace Halseth and Allison Terry, and you pick up the victories here today. Allison, you go to 4-0. Grace 4-1. You look like a little bit like you had to work a little bit, and then all of a sudden you hit a groove. Talk about that.
Yeah. So at first, I think it was because we were on TV, a little nervous. But otherwise, then we're like, okay, we just got to get out of our heads, and we know how to play. So we just pretty much have to talk through it and work together, and otherwise we do pretty good.
Oh, go ahead.
We just know how to work together and pick each other up. So once we got back to things, we knew we were gonna be fine, and even if we lost a point here and there, it was gonna be okay.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit because it seemed like the communication was really solid between you out there, especially the net play to the back play, who's directing who. So you seem to be on the same page out there.
Yeah, we've been playing together for a while with multiple sports, and we've known each other since kindergarten, so we have a pretty good connection.
I want to talk, Allison, you seem to be particularly, you both played the net really well today, but Allison, you seem to be particularly comfortable. Talk about your net play there, because that seemed to be kind of your wheelhouse.
Well, I've been playing singles for a while, and I just excel at the net, and I love to hit the ball, and I like to hit it hard. And so Grace has to yell at me sometimes to hit softer, but yeah, that's where I excel, and that's where I like to play.
You know, the other thing that was really impressive, you may not maybe have noticed it when you were out there at the time, but you really played well when Spring Lake Park was serving. In fact, Spring Lake Park only won one game that they actually served the entire day. So you won 7 out of the 8. So was there anything particular when Spring Lake Park was on the serve that you felt comfortable out there today, or what was working for you there?
I think that just them serving got us, we had to do one good return, and then Allison, if we kept it deep, then they'd pop it up right to Allison at the net, and then she'd just smash it down, which is what we've been trying to work on. Just keep letting them feed her at the net, because that's where she's really strong at.
Yeah, we like to say, just Grace return it, and then they'll hit back to me, and we'll smash it, and that's the point, and then that gets game. And that's just how we like to work together.
All right, definitely a team effort, and it showed out there that you were very comfortable, as it sounds like you are in a lot of sports, playing together, playing the angles. And, of course, when we're interviewing here in these weird COVID times, don't forget to look at the camera with the angle and wave that way for all your adoring fans. So, Grace Halseth, Allison Terry, thanks for joining us here today. Congratulations. And with that, we will wrap things up here from Blaine, where Halseth and Terry get the victory today over Busack and Nielson. Final score of 6-3 and 6-1. Don't forget to stay tuned, as we will be joining high school soccer in progress, as Centennial and Spring Lake Park are going at it on the pitch. And so with that, we want to thank our crew here, Jeremy and the rest of the crew here at North Metro and Blaine. We'll toss it over. We'll join Blythe and John over on the pitch. You've been watching high school tennis here on North Metro TV.